concrete pastures.
That's right.
Our guest story is very inspirational. She is known for business development, gender, climate justice, leadership, and sustainability and research. I'm so grateful to my lovely sister, Dr. Sombo, for this connect. She's been on the show. Please check out her episode. You will be inspired. Our guest, her name is Dr. Maureen Malomba. She is a seasoned business development professional with over 20 years of experience in both nonprofit and for-profit organizations. She has held a senior leadership roles working across the East African region countries. Her expertise lies in the boards and organizational consulting, specifically in strategy planning, engaged partnership development, stakeholder engagement, infrastructure fund development and management, as well as public policy development. In recent years, she has doubled up as a college instructor business. Maureen is an avid advocate for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with a specific focus on education, gender, climate justice, and partnerships for the goals. Her leadership philosophy is Ubuntu, a popular African leadership style with tenets of humility, compassion, humanity, and integrity. She is a strong believer in collaborative leadership approaches that are more inclusive and appreciative of diversity and authenticity because Ubuntu is about we and not me. She built her research model from a collaborative approach where she integrates research with practice and social value. Thank you so much for being here. This is such an honor. I'm so excited. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
That is just
I'm
a little bit
really
of your bio.
humbled.
There's so much more that we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Guys, I need to start recording behind the scenes because we talk more behind the scenes and then we start this. I need to be to start recording, but this is amazing. I'm so happy you've made time for us. You are super duper busy. You recently graduated, which we're gonna get into as well. So welcome. We usually start from where you started, which is Kenya. How was it growing up in Kenya? What do you remember most in Kenya?
Um, Thank you, Nancy, for having me. I feel so humbled to be here today. I'm Kenyan and I grew up in rural part of Kenya myself too.
Mm.
For until I finished high school, I lived in a small county in rural Kenya called Bungoma. And after high school, I moved to Nairobi, like a lot of us, for college, and deciding that this is where I'm going to make home because there is definitely the urban area has got more opportunities in terms of employment. So for the rest of my adult life, I've been living in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya, where I went into development studies. After that, I stayed home a lot to take care of my family. At that time, I had a very young family, so just did my bit as a mother, while my bit as a soccer mom. I was always there for my kids to use the school and my kids' sports and dropping them to school, picking them up, and just juggling other things in between. Voluntary services, I started very early in that. Because I just wanted to keep my brain still active in as much as I enjoyed being a mom. Soon after, I decided I'm going back into employment when my kids are old enough to go to school. I have 3 babies now, no longer babies, all Gen Zs. So, so 17 and above.
Wow.
And as soon as they started school, I said, okay, I need to get back to find myself again. So I went into admin positions, worked as a PA for a while, and while in that space also got into nonprofits. And through my work as a nonprofit, I decided I'm going back to school to do my MBA so that I can work more with the boards rather than in programs. So that's where I started my consulting for boards. I worked with boards, just trying to build their strategies in terms of sustainability in financial space. How do we raise funds? How do we build our resilience? And in that space, I also worked with businesses. So I doubled up in business development, both for for-profits and non-profits. An area where I worked in, a space where I've worked in until in 2019, I think it was in 2018, I made a bold decision that I want to go back to school. I wasn't getting the jobs I wanted to get as a consultant because I didn't have a title. I used to get my friends to get the deals and then I give them a cut, because for you to qualify to consult for some organization, they need to understand that you're an expert. And it doesn't matter how many years of experience you bring in, they need to see that validation through your papers. So a doctorate was a decision I made that I must do. If I want to be better at what I'm doing and get the jobs that I want, I need to make this big sacrifice and decide to do school. What I wasn't so clear about is where I want to do school, but one thing I was sure about is it's not in Kenya. Because I just didn't think I had the time. At that time, I was already approaching in my early 40s, and I just thought I don't have 10 years to do a PhD. I only have a few years. I so that I can use it. Back home, if I was to decide to do it, it would take me at least 8 years. The process is much slower. We don't have as much resources for research. We have limited faculty to attend to, so it's very competitive to even get a faculty member to take you through the process. So because of that, I just said I must do it in abroad. I know it will take me at least 3 years to 5 years to get this certification, be among the 2% population of the world. So based on that information, I applied in Europe, where I was accepted in Netherlands, Utrecht University, but it was a partly funded program and it was still very expensive for me. So I thought, I've paid my way through school. This is one area I need someone to pay for me. Let me look what is out there. So I went online because everyone asks me, who got you here? Not got me here. I just did my research. I'm a researcher primarily, so I needed to do the right research. So I did my research and ended up at James Madison University on a fully funded program.
Nice.
And the best part about it, they allowed me to bring my family. They said, you know what? You can bring your dependents.
Wow.
Yeah, the scholarship will take care of you. And if you stretch a little further with whatever you've saved, you should be able to keep everyone here. So tough decision because I didn't know where I was coming to. I'd been to the US before. I've just never been here to stay. It had always been about work. 1 week here. When you come as a tourist, it's all fun. But now I'm making that bold move. I'm gonna make America my second home.
I call it as I call it like it's like dating. Once you move in together, you get to know the real person. When you come to visit, people are like, "Oh my God, it's so nice! It's this and that and that." Well, come and live here first, and then you get to meet the real US.
Yeah, once it becomes let's do life, it's different.
Yes, let's do life. It's like, no, I don't think I signed up for this.
Very true. Yeah. So this is a reality check. It's no longer a 1 week, 2 weeks vacation. This is you're moving, you're leaving everything behind.
Oh my goodness.
And you have a career that you are at your prime, in your early 40s. you've gotten that space where you know you're at a good place, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're leaving everything behind, going to something you're not even sure about. And the part about PhD, not a lot of your friends have gone through that journey, so no one knows how to advise you how they how it looks, what to expect ahead
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So it's a deep dive. You're just coming in blind with faith that I'm not the first one and I won't be the last one.
Wow.
And as long as I survive alive, that's what I always say. As long as I survive alive, I should be good.
Wow.
So my faith, discussed it with my husband, also had a good career. So we made a very critical decision for our kids, especially. He said, "You take the kids."
What was he doing before you came?
He works in the government, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and the government. By the time you are a senior government officer, you've been there for a while, and it's now when you get to enjoy working with the government.
Wow. You
Yeah.
get all the nice benefits, everybody working under
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden wife wants to move.
Yes, so my wife wants to move. I've struggled to just build. The government is not a place where you go up the ladder really fast. It has
No,
taken him
it's a
more
slow
than
move.
20 years to
Yeah.
get to where he was, and he was really happy. It was almost just one step to the most senior.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so he's here, and I'm talking about let's relocate. So
Huh.
he said you can get all of us a visa. That's okay to have a dependent visa, but you go look at how it looks like, settle in, and we'll take you to school. They all traveled with me to bring me to school. This time it wasn't mommy taking them to school. It was all
Everybody,
the family bringing me
everybody
to
else.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they traveled with me here. They loved it. They said, "Oh, you see how it looks in the next 1 year before. So more of us join you." So I came alone. I came, and it was tough for me to take them back to the airport and just test the waters. But I was really excited to be here and just I'm an adventurous person. So to me, I was just another adventure. So let me just dive in and see how this looks like. So that went really, really well. So the first year, just adapting to sharing a house with strangers, the reality now sets in. You're
Yeah.
used to having your house and asking for a cup of tea while waiting for it to be made. All of a sudden, you share a house with two other strangers, and your space is limited to your bedroom. These
Wow.
other spaces are shared, and as an adult, as a child, I think you're from a dormitory to a shared space. That's still freedom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
When you
yes.
come at,
Because
yeah,
I'm laughing because
yeah,
of you coming already established. You already had a
yes,
life where you came
yeah.
from. I did not have a life. So for me, you are describing what it is exactly from a dorm, because I had no life. Right away, I grew up
Yeah.
in boarding school. So I was literally in a dormitory, shared space. I came here, I was sharing space with my aunt and my mom's cousin as well. So it was just
Mhm.
like shared space. And I didn't feel anything. I just living my life.
Yeah, as a kid, it's okay, and then you're used to your bedroom, your bed, your kitchen, everything is mine, mine, and then yeah, you're shared, 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 and then again picking up, no one else is cooking for you but yourself. You're used to having that privilege of having someone, a housekeeper, a nanny, and
Yep.
everyone around to take care of you.
Mm.
Now, and then the first year, the adjustment, the biggest adjustment for me was just staying, being awake for a while. I had to wait until my kids wake up to go to school, make sure that for the first time my husband was dropping them to school. Are they in school on time? Still communicating with their teachers because I was the only parent they were more familiar with.
Yeah.
So just adjusting with that time, with the time zones. And my daughter at that time, she had just started college, my oldest, and me still getting Ubers for her from here so that I still control where she's going and how long she's staying there. So trying to be a remote mom at the same time, being a student in a foreign country. But yeah, that didn't last for long because after 1 year, I managed to bring them here and at least the children. And at that time, my husband had clearly seen the financial situation will be very hard for both of us to just leave the country. And because we were very much in touch on how is it going for you? How much can you stretch that stipend?
Yeah.
You know, my savings was also very quickly running out because I was used to a car, so I needed to get a car. And then when my family comes here, I need a good house, a safe neighborhood, because you don't want them to come here and get that shock of, why are we living here? Why are we sharing rooms? Why are we so? Very quickly we realized if we want to maintain something, not the really same standards back we were used to, but something close to what we were
Yeah.
used to, we need to make big sacrifices. So he said, I'll stay behind. You go to school, take care of the kids, and then realize also as the kids go to college, it's I'm an international. We are paying out of state fees. So it's also a big expense, which I can't
Yeah.
afford. So I
Yeah.
need him there to be paying because our kids were also in high school at that time, and my daughter was already in college. So we realized we can't afford that tuition if we all move here. So that's why he decided to stay. So he's been taking care of tuition for the kids. Now they're two are in college, and one is just finished high school, also going to college next in the fall. So he's been very supportive in terms of the out-of-state fees because that is 10,000, just 10,000 a semester for us, which I
Yep.
can't afford. And now taking care of other bills like rent. Rent in this country is crazy. So me, I was just taking care of the smaller bills, our phones, our cars, insurance, because as the kids grow, they also need to commute to school. So more cars in the family, insurance, and all the multiple expenses. So my stipend has really been stretching, but we did it. And I just finished school.
Wow. No, congratulations. Really. Um, I'm sitting here thinking, because there's so many people in your shoes that
Mhm.
do leave their children, do leave their spouses to come and test the waters, go for education, pursue their higher education, exactly in your space. My question to you is, because me having been married
Mhm.
for however years I was, which is 13 years, I can't imagine living in a whole different country without my husband being there.
Mhm.
Uh, how are you? Maybe you could give us some perspective. Like, how are you managing keeping that marriage? I don't know how long you guys have been together, the marriage part, because it seems like the fees and taking care of kids is great.
Yeah.
How is the marriage piece? Maybe you can give someone some inspiration on how you guys are keeping that together. Because I mean, marriage is marriage. It's also a
True.
relationship on its own, aside
It
from
is.
outside the children.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good you've mentioned because so far what I had mentioned before is transactional. So yeah, how are you taking care of us while you're here? So yeah, there's a time we've tried to really work out our marriage because we've been married for 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we got married very early, straight out of college, and we just decided let's do life. And what we did is the first time I came, I mentioned like I brought him here with me.
Yes.
And I remember he was very concerned. He said, must you do that PhD abroad? What will that do to our marriage? We've heard of people going and never coming back or
Mhm.
things happening and the distance takes, takes the best of the marriages and people grow apart
Yes, out of
because
sight, out of mind.
Yes, so it was a very tough and very intentional decision when you said we will be apart, but we'll still be together. So I don't know whether that makes sense. So what we do, we talk. I think I I've cried with my husband on the phone when the things really get thick, especially in terms of the program, because
Yeah.
a PhD is just on another level. I thought grad school is grad school. No, it's not. PhD is PhD, masters is masters. So, so when I, so I've cried that there are nights I couldn't sleep because I have too much going on, and I took up a job as an instructor. So I was still teaching classes as an adjunct professor, well at the
While
same
doing your
time.
PhD,
Yeah, so that
oh,
was like
wow.
my
Your
uh,
income source?
graduate assistantship, because if
Mm.
they are paying me stipend, I need to give back in terms of service. So I decided I'll be teaching. So throughout this process, I've also been teaching classes. So sometimes you just get overwhelmed. Your kids are teenagers trying to cope in a new country. So you're trying to be a single mom for the first time in your life, because all of a sudden it's you who is with them 100% throughout the day. So you're trying to manage them. You're also trying to manage, and we came during COVID, and
Oof, yes,
COVID,
2019,
yes, COVID.
2020.
In fact, when they
Wow.
were moving in, they moved in during COVID. Their first year, they were all online. So trying to make them, because they don't have a teacher there to guide them, trying to be there when they are doing classes. So it was like homeschooling. And I was saying, how do these people do this homeschooling? Because some of them do it very comfortably around here.
No, I give up. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait for schools to come
Me
back.
too. Me
Mm.
too. So, and myself, I'm teaching classes online. So I'm teaching my classes online. I'm attending my classes online, and my kids are online. So all of us just this the house looks like a messy library, not even a mess, a tidied up library, a messy library. So all of us at home at the same time in class, teaching, taking classes, and then taking care of the boys, making
Mm.
sure they're coping well in that online space for the first time, because they had never seen something like that. Now all of a sudden they walk into it, and they have very limited time to adjust. So that, and now keeping up with my husband, so being a wife and a companion to my husband. So we've tried, and there's a time it took a whole 1 year sabbatical leave to just come and be with us when I was really struggling in the program.
Mm.
And I was doing my research for my dissertation, and I needed really to just concentrate on the process if I needed to finish it within the my within the my stipulated time. So I asked him, can your employer allow you 1 year to come and stay here with us? It took an entire 1 year to just come and stay with us here, and he was fully supportive in terms of running the household, and he's a hands-on person. So he does, when he's around, I know I don't have to clean, I don't have to cook, because yeah, I also grew up in a big family where you needed to do something if you need a meal on your table. So
Mm.
based on that, is really domesticated for a man. So
But
that really,
I'm going through my head. I'm like, he's an African man.
yes, he is. He's all corporate, but when he's at home, he's fully domesticated. So, yeah, so he's a better cook than me. So I just say, take over, yeah. So that really helped. And it's also just helped us to reconnect as a couple that 1 year. And he also took time to also do a second master's for him, just in case he makes that transition. He already has a paper that will help him integrate into the job market here. So he took that 1 year, decided to also do a second master's program, and also just be around to support us as a family. That really helped. And he comes, he visits every 3 months. He's here for a month. Lucky for us, again, he is able to afford that, because again, tickets and traveling is not easy. I also travel as much as I can, but I don't stay as long, because uh, I I've never traveled with the kids since they came here because of just their busy schedule. And because my research was in Kenya, I had to travel back and forth a lot.
Mm.
So because of that, we've managed to keep our marriage still just normal. We try to be around each other as much as we can every 3 months. Like now he is around. He came last week. He'll be here
Oh,
for a month
lovely.
to make sure he's moving us from Virginia now to Maryland and settle us in there before he goes back. And yeah, and then again he'll be here for Christmas. So he tries after every 3 months to just book his ticket so that he's here at least for a month every time, at least 3 times a year, which is expensive again. But as we said, the conscious decision we made until I'm able to be legally here. Lucky for me, the job I got, they'll move forward with sponsoring my permanent residency. Then he can move in here and get a job. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for us for him to stop doing what he's doing and fully supporting us. Since we've already found a way of working it out and moving in here when he can still continue doing what he loves. It will be selfish of me to just tell him, come and be sitting around since you don't have papers to work. Because when they come as my dependents, they are not allowed to work. The visa they are given is F2. I came on a student visa, F1.
Yes.
F2 has got a lot of limitations for your dependents. They can only do school, but they are not given a social security number and they are not allowed to work. So
Wait, they can go to school, but they don't give the social security number?
yeah, they can go to school, and because we are paying as internationals, so
That's big.
yeah,
That's big.
so we are paying an out-of-state fee, so they cannot allow to work. But now,
Even in
because I'm
school?
getting into a new job where my kids are also being given, because I'm going in as an assistant professor. So the school that is absorbing me is also allowing all my dependents to go on to be on. One of my benefits is they're coming in tuition free, so I don't pay anything for them, and they live with me, so I'm not paying anything. If they are staying on campus, I'll pay for that, but they'll be living with me and they're going to the same school, so tuition free. And as many, and lucky for us Africans, as many kids as you have, as long as they're legally yours, they'll be sponsored in at least 300 schools tuition free. And they're not limited to only my school. They can choose any other school. The school will still sponsor their tuition. So that is really going to take a lot of load off my husband, because he's been doing all this by himself, supporting the tuition for the kids. So that is a next big step for us, knowing that the PhD was worth the tears, blood, and sweat was all worth it. At least moving forward, things are gonna be better.
Listen, I have to applaud both of you guys because like I told you from the beginning of the question, as to
Mhm.
I can't imagine being outside, away from my husband for this long, or my partner for that long. Um, the way you guys are so organized together and working together and supporting each other in each other's careers, it's very rare. Um, I never knew of the word jealous of the spouse.
Mhm.
I've come to find out to find it. Some men or some women will stop you from moving on into your career
Mhm.
because they feel intimidated. You're coming from Kenya, coming here, and your husband is completely supportive about that. Um, the only reason I'm speaking about is because there's so many women and men that have complained as to they are being restrained or not trying to move forward because there was no support from their spouse. Whether it's leaving the country to go to another country to pursue their career or get an education or something to just to develop themselves to continue.
Mhm.
But the way you guys are doing it, this is amazing. It's beautiful to see support from each other. and still continue to work on your marriage while you are apart, and continue to have a good strategy on how to work your marriage, which is great. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that, really. And
Thank you.
congratulations again on your
Thank you.
job. Well deserved, really. I
Thank
mean,
you.
PhD, listen, I hear it. I already feel when I hear PhD, I'm just like, hey, good Lord, this is not my portion. It's too much
I
education for me. It's expensive.
yeah.
If you're fortunate enough to like get a scholarship, I mean, I encourage it for anybody to go ahead and do it. But if you don't have a scholarship, it's you have to have a lot of money to do it.
And
Aside from room, food, and then school itself, you're paying as an international student.
mhm.
It's a
And
bill.
your mental space, you need to just find your sanity. It's yeah, it's also crazy. And we've grown up. You grew up in a family setup. We are very communal as
Yeah,
Africans. Then you come here, you don't have that community kind of support system around you. That now dealing with that and the pressure of being an international student, so it's another level altogether. Even whether you're an undergrad or you're in it doesn't matter
yeah,
which stage. I'm glad I'm here for my kids because I can't imagine them here alone being students. Yeah, it doesn't matter which level. It's as an international in this country without family, it's a space that can be very challenging to navigate, given the limited resources in terms of finances. Because back home, even when you come as a young student, they probably give you 1 year fees and your air ticket. And then you come here, you have to figure out the system and find ways of how you take yourself to school for the next 4 years, and you're 19, perhaps 20.
yeah, yeah,
So when I was struggling, I was saying, no, you need to make it work because there's a kid who came here at 19 and they are in their careers. Look at you, for example. They sort of figured life out while growing up because they were children. So you're an adult. You have more resilience. Your mental capacity of critical thinking is better. You can make better decisions.
yeah.
You got, so that was pressure for me. You got to make, because I have friends like you and I see you've you've made it, and I'm proud of you because you came here much younger. And if I'm struggling as as an adult student, how much was the struggle for them? With all
Whew.
this support system, at least I have finances to keep me here based
Mhm.
on what our small savings back home. So I applaud. I look at young African or international students, and I know their struggle is 3 times worse. So I'm like, if they can hack it or they hacked it, I shouldn't even start complaining. I'm having it lighter because they came here innocent, young, as babies. Because back home, here at 16, probably you live alone in this country, but back home, until you're getting married, you're a baby. So
Yeah,
under 25, you're still a baby in Africa.
yeah,
Yeah, and you have to come here and find your space and make it work, because back home they're happy they took our child to America, and you got to make it work out. So I can't imagine the pressure for even the younger people. I'm so glad that my kids have to do this and I'm around them here to give them all the support financially, and I'm paying their bills. They don't have to worry my phone. They don't have, because someone else would have been here at 18, 17 and trying to figure all those things out while growing up.
wow, yeah. You've touched on so many lives, like myself.
Yeah. So some of you also inspired the inspiration behind us making it work here. Because every time someone doing grad school complains, I tell them, someone came here at 17 and they have a job. Stop whining. Get your act together. Yeah, it's tough. Nothing good comes easy. But a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old came here from nowhere. Probably moved from the village straight. They had never even lived in Nairobi. At least
Yeah.
we've learned life through Nairobi a bit. Then
Yeah.
they left the rural part and just came to Nairobi to take a flight to the US. The first city they encountered was New York or Boston or
Yeah.
somewhere in Texas or the Atlanta, and they're professionals here. So why should we whine about this?
No,
Yeah.
but I applaud every we applaud every story, but
Yes, true.
it's beautiful that you are sharing your perspective on our on the young people.
Yeah, I applaud you guys. I really find you brave. Look
Uh,
at me. I'd already visited America before. So apart from just living here, I had expectations. And then I came also when internet was very vibrant. I had a bit of the expectations of what awaits. The
yes.
young people, they had to just figure out as with the expectations and the shocks as they came. So in as much as our story is still as inspiring by just living that comfortable life and moving here, I also find a young person who made it work here really inspiring. I use your story to inspire my kids because they are now at that space, yeah, to tell them, so and
Sorry.
so, they were alone without me here and they figured it out. So you guys are lucky that I'm here and you can always come, mom. And
They should treasure this time. I
yes,
think it's the one thing that I can say coming here at that young age. I always miss my mom, even though my mom was
yeah,
poor,
mm-hmm.
but her presence was missed a lot because
Mm-hmm.
first I wanted to do so much. My brain was dreaming so much. It's like if my mom was here, I could have been saving this money instead of spending it for school, instead of spending it for this and that, for electric bill, for instance. I can
Mm-hmm.
save my money, buy a home because that's what I was seeing around. There's a lot of kids that for instance, when I worked at Bloomingdale's, there's some
Mm-hmm.
kids that I worked with and they were living with their parents. They would save their money. Oh, I want to get an apartment. I want to get a condo. And that's what I
Yeah,
encourage the kids that I work with now that I manage.
yeah,
And I tell them, listen, stay as long as you can with your parents.
true,
Save your poor money. It's better to buy a place than renting. Save
true.
up all of your money. Don't, and there's so many things that I was missing. And I'm so
Yeah,
glad that you're there
true.
for your children. It's
Mm-hmm.
a great thing that they are very fortunate to have you around
Mm-hmm.
as that. But listen.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
So that,
it
yeah,
has its
because,
good and bad side, like anything in life.
mm-hmm,
I like that I was by myself.
mm-hmm,
This way, I can do whatever I wanted to do, my own time, and find my own identity. My biggest thing was finding my own identity.
yeah,
That's really what got me to coming here. I
yeah,
truly have found myself. And I mean, it's a great thing, but it didn't go without challenges.
mm-hmm,
I'm still having challenges. It's life. I miss my family greatly, almost all the time. My kids finally went to visit home. They're
yay,
obsessed with going back home. Yeah, so it's a great journey, but it comes with a lot of ups and downs for
yeah,
uh,
true.
anybody who's young wants to
Mm-hmm,
come from high school, coming all the way to America.
mm-hmm,
It's a great thing. It has changed though. Things are simpler, much
mm-hmm,
better. It's easier to get a lot of things, a lot in different doors. It's easy
mm-hmm.
compared to when I came. Um, but coming back to you, can you explain to us your philosophy of Ubuntu and
Mm-hmm.
how it influences your approach to leadership and promotes collaboration, inclusivity within your teams?
Great. So, Ubuntu. So, Ubuntu for me, I've grown up in the community. That's the biggest part. A home where you always share a bed until you go to boarding school. That was me. I always shared a bed with my sister. If it wasn't my sister, it was some relative. So growing up in the community where you can't eat, have your plate full when your neighbor is sleeping hungry, made me realize the power of the community. So there's so much in a way that you just, the good thing about Ubuntu, the empathy part, you want to empathize with the next person. You don't want to make decisions as a leader without putting yourself in their shoe first. So if I was me in her shoe and she was the leader, what would I expect her to address my issue? That's how you want. It's not about me, it's about us. How does my decision affect the community and not me? So we're trying to move leadership to a space where you're thinking about the we factor rather than the I factor. And Ubuntu, which is an African style of leadership, we call it Ujamaa in Swahili. And Mwalimu Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania, he called it that way. And we have it in different, it has different names in different countries.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same thing. When you look around it, it's just the same thing. And it's sad that our African leaders are missing that. Now they're missing where our values come from as Africans. And I'm a leadership, my PhD is in leadership, strategic leadership. And my research mainly is with communities. And I find it that my role in all this is always to remind a lot of the stakeholders in my country, and I do my research mainly in Kenya, to not disconnect from the values that make us uniquely Africans. We are a community, and the community is our business. So let's not disconnect and pick anything else. There are good things to learn from the West. One of the things I'm trying to learn and while struggling is keeping time. I think you saw that today. But let's not let them cloud what we are all about, what makes us uniquely Africans. So, so there are really good things to learn in this country. The value of time and respecting that value, because it's one resource you can't replace. So, but
No, I agree with you when it comes to time.
Yeah.
Not even the fact that of being someone being on time. If let's say you have an appointment with someone, I think it's the fact that people are very laid back and not having a sense of agency.
Yes.
I think that's one thing I have noticed. I'm sure you have that in Kenya, but back home, literally, for some people now, when I talk to my people that have been abroad and they're back home, they have just adjusted to the way of things. So I'm like, why can't we teach people to be, to have a sense of agency? Customer service, they don't have no sense of agency. They'll leave you, you're like doing them a favor. You go to a restaurant, literally, you could be waiting an hour, 2 hours, no one is coming to check on you. Not all of the restaurants, but a lot of the restaurants. You're sitting there, nobody's checking up, nothing. Here, oh God. You'll even be annoyed how many times they check up on you, but it's a good
I know.
it's a good thing. Having a sense of agency and having a timely manner of when you are there, you've taken time from your day to come to a place, and you need to be served whatever you went to do there for. However, even people just showing up on time, you set up a meeting, people show up an hour later, 2 hours later. Like, what are we doing? How are we supposed to run businesses that way? Like, how are we planning to be successful? Because that's the one thing that they have here. Like, when they are on time, it means on time.
On time,
and
not in time.
Not in time. And that's what makes the country go faster.
Yeah.
Like, time is money.
Yes.
Exactly to that. Like, time is money. I need to make money. you're wasting my, I mean, don't waste my time. I need to make money at some point. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere, honestly. It's everywhere. So if you find the trick, please share it in all of our 54 of us.
It's still a struggle. I try. Like when I go home, everyone tells me, "You become so Americanized. What is it? You said one, and you're there at one. Like it's actually abnormal to be on time." Because when you say one, people will get there at two. So you have to say 1 hour early so that when they're late, they're actually on time. So yeah, so you'll meet them at one, but you tell them, let's meet at midday. And if you get there at midday, true to your word, you'll stay for 1 hour waiting.
Yeah.
It's like it's so dope to be late. You can't be early. No, you can't be the first one there.
I had a hard time, like with that mentality.
Yeah.
I think the person that actually changed my mentality in that regard is my ex-husband, and
Mhm.
also the type of job that I do. You have
Mhm.
to be on time. You have to
Yeah,
show
you
up on
have
time
to.
before your team.
Mhm.
And I remember I would be invited to a party. He would be on time. If they said 8, we would be there for 8. And I'd be so annoyed. I'm like, why are we here? It's not even our party, but it's just the respect, the respect of time. Me, I wanted to be fashionably late, but we are there at 8 o'clock. It's not our party.
We have this joke that an African will even be late for their own funeral. We are like, where's the guy we're supposed to bury?
They're like,
We are all here mourning, but
they're still
where's the
dying.
dead person? Oh, that thing is so in us. I will show up even late for a funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mourners are there. The grave has been dug. You're still waiting for the coffin to show up. So yeah, so I always say, in as much as there are very good things to learn here, don't disconnect from what makes you authentic as African. And one of the things is just the communal value that we hold so close as African. And that's what defines our leadership in terms of because Ubuntu is a communal leadership where anything you say must be good for the community, not for me. Yeah, and we are losing that. You can't tell what's happening back in our continent, and it's not specific to any country. It's
Yeah.
actually cuts across. Right
Yeah.
now, as a country in Kenya, we've had a very rough 1 week, just trying to be very to beg the president to be democratic from the way he drafts the budgets, because those budgets are not helping everyone. It's only helping the leaders. When you allocate almost half of the budget into confidential funds where we are not supposed to hold you accountable. You say, we know as a government what we'll do with these funds. That doesn't sit right with the many millions of Kenya who elected you into power. So based on that is what we just try. For some of us who are scholars of leadership, we are trying to really keep on driving this ideology behind Ubuntu, as we are in the West, where the communities are very individualized,
Yes.
but we don't want to lose the values that we have as Africans. So Ubuntu is very big for me, and it drives everything I do. It drives my research in so many ways. Even the kind of research I do, I like collaborating with other disciplines. I like collaborating with other colleagues. I just like the power of we. I feel that we is bigger than me. So if we can grow together, even academically, through my research, and bring you in, and we do this together rather than me walking this journey together, it's where I try to ground myself as an African scholar in the US.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So how do you advocate for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly in the area of education, gender, climate, justice, and partnerships?
Thanks for that question. So back home, before I moved here, I was in consulting. And a lot of organizations I was working with were in that space. I'm very passionate, especially about gender. So I've worked with women organizations, just knowing where we came from as African women. We are still struggling because very few of us have properties to our names. Most of the properties, probably our spouses buy, they are only under their names. I know for my mom, who was born in the late 40s. Yeah, it took her almost the first time she held an identification card, she was in her 30s. And that is the only time now her payroll could come into her personal account. She was able to open an account. Before that, anything, if you're working, would go to your husband's account. So we were not even allowed to hold the identification card. And the big part about me as a scholar is driven mainly from my mom's experiences. Our mothers make us. So the stories she used to talk to me, to talk to us about the struggle as a first daughter, you know, having been told you really don't need school because you'll get a man who will marry you. How about you get married so that you use your bride price to take your brothers to school? You know, all being denied all those privileges while growing up just because
Wait,
of our gender.
wait. I need to hear this again.
Yeah.
If a woman is working,
Yes.
her payroll would not go
Yeah.
to her own account. It would go to her husband.
Yes,
Why?
because that was what African society was all about. Once you're married, you become like the community property. So
Huh.
before we are enjoying the fruits of our mother's struggles. So before you get married, before you get married, until you get married, then before you get married, you're a father's property. So when Kenya was getting independence, women were still not getting identification cards, which will allow you to own a property, probably open a bank account. The women were still in the traditional ways of being. We were patriarchy, basically. It was a man's world. So the struggles, and I always thank the struggles of the American women, because these struggles trickled. They couldn't vote. They advocated for that. And that's one thing I admire about America. This human rights thing, some of them has also helped us as developing countries acquire some of those rights that are universal, rather universal. They might take time to totally pick up in our countries, but we've benefited from all of that. When I go to the African American Museum in DC, I appreciate their struggles, because I, as an African, am able to enjoy some of the struggles that that started from America. America is over, it's almost 300 years or even over thereabout. Kenya is only 60, now 50 something year old. So we are toddlers. A lot of our benefits are what were fought for way back by women who went into the streets and fought for our rights. And by that time, when you are now getting the independence as a country in Kenya, it's when now we are now taking some of these things and incorporating them, saying, no, going forth, this is what we also want. We also want our women to get identification cards. We also want our women to get jobs. We also want our women to be empowered. But the struggle is still there. It's not over yet. It's slowly coming in, representation of women in spaces where even decisions affect them. Things like to give life or not to give life. In my country, we have a big debate about the cost of sanitary towels and men wanting to say, no, those things should be, taxes should be added. Why? Are you the ones? Are we supposed to hold them until they become cheap, then we keep rolling? So these conversations, women need to drive them, because they know where the shoe pinches. that including women in these decision-making places, empowering them enough to stand up and talk for themselves, giving them that space where they feel safe to talk about their spaces. So that drove me into that gender space where I just thought, as we need more representation, we need more women in this space, especially when it is addressing issues that that threaten their existence. Can women stand up and say, no, I want to go to school? I'm privileged. I got a supportive husband. How many women die with their dreams just
Yeah,
because they are wives, just because they are daughters, just because, and not everyone gets to live their dream. A lot of women, a good percentage of women live with their dreams because the system is not supporting them. They'll tell you, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I can't. It's all about others but themselves. They'll never do it for them because that is the society expectations. I
yeah,
know coming here, making that decision, the many people told my husband, she's gonna get married. Forget about her. A lot of people told me he's gonna get marry again because you're not a traditional woman. How can you just pack and leave to pursue education? And these are fellow women who are talking to you. It just shows you how much the society has made us. This is the right way of doing things, and you shouldn't defy them because society expects you once you're married, you can't make your own decisions. Yeah,
doctor.
once you're a mother, your decision, you can't make your own decisions. So that's why I'm very passionate about that space. I always say, if my story can show another, and I tell my husband, you can talk to other husbands. A lot of these women just die without living their dreams.
Yeah,
They have sacrificed their entire dream for you, and then for what? After 2, 3 years, this one gets a more educated girl, and you didn't get to live that dream because you thought, I'm being a good wife. So that's what I told everyone. I just said, if he decides to marry, he might decide to marry with me here anyway. A man who wants to take up on a second, third wife will do it whether I'm here or not. So I'd
exactly.
rather
That is the
give
truth.
my full potential and say,
Yeah.
at least I did me. I rather than sit there pretty, and it still surprises me because I married this nice professor who went to school. You're an uneducated woman. Whichever way, you have to be bold enough to go for what you want, and trust the process, that if things were meant to work out, they'll work out. If they
Oh,
Yeah, take that risk. If they were never meant to work out, they wouldn't, whether you sit there or you don't. Yeah.
yeah. That is true. That is the truth right there. This is why I had to ask you that question because of how we are groomed as women. There's so much grooming as to what it looks like to be a good wife, a good woman, a good partner. And we are, as women, we are nurtured to be more supportive than men are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reason why I was asking that question this way. Fellow women, even husbands, they can hear this, like partners, they can hear this, like it's okay to support your spouse to go and further their education, further their career. It all to the benefit of them individually and the whole entire family. Because
Mhm.
eventually everybody benefits, but we have to let women grow and fly. And I just love that you are so supportive of that. And this is beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, and I remember the one thing that I did when I decided to move here was I asked for my mom's blessings. And my mom was so happy. I think she told everyone I'm going before I even applied. My daughter is going to be a doctor. She's going to the US to pursue her PhD. And I hadn't even applied because the next time I was visiting her at the village, one of my friends told me, "Oh, Mama told us you're going to do your PhD," and I hadn't even applied. I told Mom, "You can't be telling people yet. I'm still just." Yeah, she was so proud, and to me, her giving me those blessings, I'd said it doesn't matter what my husband says. At this point, I think I have the blessing of the one person that will tell me, no, you're a wife, you're a mother, you shouldn't. But for her to see that I might not have been privileged to get there, but through you, I'll get there. For her to just tell me, and I have a photo of her blessing me, you know, the moment I told her, I said, you have all my blessings. And she would pray and said, you go be the doctor you want to become.
Mm.
So even when I came to tell my husband, in as much as to me, it was just, I'm informing him, you know, this is already done, my mom's blessing. I was impressed that he equally was supportive, but I'd said, even if he said no at this point, I have a stable family, I've raised my kids well. I think they already have enough values
You
from
had
me.
done your part, yeah.
Yeah, it's now about me. I'm doing this for me, and it's a dream for me. I don't want to die regretting that I never tried. So I'm going forward to him to just let him know that I've made a decision. I'm going abroad to do my PhD, and I'm going to apply. And it's just applying. It might never work out, but I'm just letting you know that this is where I'm at, and it's a done decision for me. So for him to say, you go for it, I think it's a great idea. He asked me why not Kenya. I told him the same reason. It will take me 8 years. I want this thing before I turn 50 so that I'm a bit productive. I have at least over 15 or 20 years to use my degree. So I want it as early as possible, and I want it to provide me more stability towards retirement as I jump into that leg of my career with it. So Andy said, I get the rationale behind it. So when I told him, why not Kenya? So he told me, you try and let me know how that goes. He didn't say no, he just asked why abroad? And he said, yeah, I'm behind you. Let me know how it works out for you. That was just the application process, because you don't know, probably I wouldn't have been accepted, but I'm lucky it worked out for me. And I had the blessing of, first, the most important person in my life, who is my mom, a woman who the system didn't allow her to live her dream. She gets to live that through her generation.
Yes.
And because she inspired us, and she told us, she always used to say this statement, and I always will remind her, if I got an opportunity to go to school, I'd have ended up being a doctor or an ambassador. So she always had a dream, a little girl growing up in the village dream.
Wow.
But that dream was cut short because she could only manage school to a certain level, where now they told her, at least at this level, you can just go get a job. At least you have the basic education, which is primary and high school. Don't go to college because you have brothers who need to go to high school. We need, yeah. And at that time, at 18, 19, they were getting married. So that they have a husband who can give some bride price that can help educate the rest of their siblings. So she gets to live her dream through us, and seeing that is already a celebration for her. My graduation was bigger for her than for me. I graduated, she didn't want me to remove that heavy regalia. The other day I had a small reception because my husband came and he wasn't here during my graduation. And he made me wear it the whole day. And I'm telling Mom, let me just wear the hoodie. No, wear the whole thing. And African mothers, for us, when they say you don't argue, yeah.
This is
And
why
she
when
keeps
I
on
look at
telling,
kids here, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't even have the nerve to respond to Mom, okay?
yeah,
Because
me
I feel
too.
like she's gonna come through the phone and tell me like
Yeah,
it is.
you don't even ask why. You
Yeah.
just get it and wear it very fast.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just the way they raised us. You can't even question their authority. And she keeps
Oh,
on reminding me every time I'm on the phone with maybe calling some office. She says, "Doctor, tell them, doctor, don't be calling yourself just Maureen. You have to use Dr. Maureen. It carries some weight." She wants me to use the title even where it
listen,
doesn't
you've
count.
earned it. Look at
Yeah.
how far you've come. And you have to use it. You have to use it. I'm sure it will take some time to sink in all the way,
Yeah, true.
but use it. It's your
Yeah.
name, it's part of you, you've earned it. Again, congratulations, congratulations. What
Thank
a powerful
you.
story,
Yeah.
what a powerful journey, and just what you stand for, the Ubuntu. I'm all the way for it. And the way you are standing up for women is
Mhm.
beautiful. Please continue to do that. What are you working on that we can support you? Or do you have anything on your heart that you would like to leave with anybody who's probably in your shoes somewhere in the world?
So I always say if you can, as an African in the diaspora, be authentic to your values. Yeah, just complement whatever you learn here, let it complement who you originally are. Just make yourself a better person by taking in the best of what the West provides. If it's in terms of opportunities, if it's in terms of some of their strong values, which are good also to take, do that. But always remember that you're African first, and we have values that most of us, and I keep telling my children who had a privilege of coming here at a younger age, you don't want to lose your identity. We have around in this country, we have friends. I have very close friends who are African Americans who are looking for that identity. You're
Oh,
privileged enough to have that identity. So don't lose it. Don't lose it. I have two friends who have adopted them to be Kenyans because they want to be to have an identity in Africa, and I'm traveling with them to Kenya next year.
oh,
So
lovely.
yeah, so find value in your identity. Don't lose that. And while you think about it, find the things that make you authentically African. Your community. Don't lose out on that community. It's a big thing. Don't take your. I remind them, don't take me to a home. Take care of me when I age, because that is us. That's how we were meant to take care of our elderly. My mom is here right now, and I tell her, as soon as I get my green card, I'm getting here a green card. She's like, no, don't come here, which is okay. But but
Wait, she's in the
but
US?
yeah, now she's here visiting. Yeah, visiting. She's the reason I'm doing this in
Nice.
school, because she's busy. She's like taken over my house. So I'm like, I need to get out and go somewhere quiet.
No, I'm
But
celebrating because this is her dream.
yeah, she said, who would have thought one day growing up, I'll never have thought I'll never come to America. Look what education has done to my children. I'm
Hmm.
able to come to America. I'm actually in America. Those are things, they live their dreams through us. So
Yes.
don't forget that the people who are your biggest cheerleaders, the people who, when you had nothing, they still got you. They still respected you. They still love you. So don't come here and lose yourself. When you got, let's take care of our parents. Let's take care of our communities. If there are opportunities there that could help our communities back home, make sure you share the information. What they do with that information, it's up to them. But make sure you share that information. When I came here in 2019, we have a WhatsApp group for my master's class where I did my MBA back in Kenya. And I told them, I took a photo of me at the gate and I said, today I start my journey as a PhD scholar in the US.
Hmm.
If you think you're interested in pursuing this journey, let me know how I can be of help.
Oh, wow.
The 7 people reached out are here with me now. So I shared that information. The people who decided to use the information are here with me on a fully paid program. So what you choose to do is that share that information. A lot of our people back home, all they lack is information. They are smart. We have really a vibrant, smart community back home. But what they lack is information. I took the initiative of looking for that information online and finding opportunities for me to come and study here. Not everyone will go that extra mile. So I made that route easy for the 7 who came here. And all I did is just share a note and a photo of me and saying I'm doing a PhD, and if you ever need to come, if this is something you are thinking of pursuing and I could be of help, just reach out. And they are all at JMU. But I tell people, you can apply just elsewhere. You can also try it elsewhere. But if you want to come to JMU, this is the way I can just tell you how to try.
Yeah.
And if you succeed, you'll end up here. So share that information. What they want to do with that information, people who need that information will use it. So I always tell them, they always say, oh, if it wasn't for you, I say, no, you chose to use the information. It's actually the part you played in using the information. In me, so if we have any information that would be helpful, I've heard of people moving here as nurses, and you want to share, if you know a way where people can apply and come here, because we have the brains, but we lack opportunities back home. And if one person can come here, they change the trajectory of their entire community. Having me here has helped a community in Kenya, 7 families who have their children now here. So it has totally changes lives back home. So 7 people's lives, and maybe their parents will also come to the US for the first time.
The trickle effect.
Yeah.
To their
the
immediate family
there.
or the extended family is affected.
Yes, and probably their niece or nephew might end up in the US, or their children, because of me. And that is how you start. Do your part. Just share that information, that good information that might help, even if it's one person to come. That already you've changed the trajectory of that community through that one person. So let's spread light other people's candle, share the light. That's usually my parting shot. Share that information. If they use it, good for them. If they don't, you say it. Like now, people are reaching out. I'm like, I'm not sure you'll get it anymore because we already have overcrowded in the program. But yeah, use it or try. And if it doesn't work out, look at other schools which don't have 7 Kenyans in the program. Because there's a joke people say, this program belongs to Americans and Kenyans. Yeah, and I told the person, because she's from another country, but in Europe, I told her, did you share with the people in your country? Share the information, probably will also help people from your country here. Yeah. So be just proactive, play your part by sharing any good news you hear that could uplift someone from home. Keep sharing, whether all those 7 people are strangers to me. They were never my close friends, but we share a platform. Now I have 7 members in my community who are in my American community, who I can call anytime. And I have 7 more Kenyans to run to in case I'm stuck. 7 new Kenyans. So I've built my community here through them also. So I've also won, in a way, I've expanded my community. In the next 5 years, I'll know 5 doctorates in America who will be probably in key places, and I don't know what they can do, not maybe just to me, but to someone in my village who needs to go to school and they're looking for that scholarship. So it's just expanding those networks in the way you know how.
Wow. No, briefly said, I really I'm uplifted from this conversation. Thank you for uplifting us. Thank you for inspiring us and for sharing your story so well. It's such an honor. It's such an honor.
It's humbling just to get this space to talk about this. Yeah.
Thank you so much for continuing to light everybody else's light, including ours, including mine. So thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you too for having me. And for doing this to many of us who are here, who can inspire anyone who's ever been, who's back home and thinking, how should we get people here? This is your way of sharing that information. This is the information people need to share. So you're using this space to just do what I advocate for, share that information. What people choose to do with that information is just up to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much.
And thank you for having me and for everything else you're doing for the rest of us.
Thank you.
Okay.